The Spanish PM is making a lot of sense. He is to ban under 15-year-olds from social media.
Spain is set to ban social media for anyone under the age of 16.
We will protect them from the digital Wild West.
Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez announced the plan on Tuesday, along with several measures aimed at ensuring online safety.
Our children are exposed to a space they were never meant to navigate alone. A space of addiction, abuse, pornography, manipulation, violence. We will no longer accept that.
At the World Government Summit in Dubai, Sanchez said platforms would be required to bring in effective age verification.
Real barriers that work.
In Madrid, there were voices of cautious support.
I
don't generally like prohibitions, but I understand.
Libs will do anything other than ban Twitter. Yeah, I do kind of wish they would, like, do the logical thing here, you know, like, let's be real, okay? Of all the social media platforms, only one of them is run by a neo-Nazi, constantly promotes neo-Nazis. Like, literally just 2 days ago, Elon did a, like, $1 million to the best poster on Twitter award and gave it to a neo-Nazi. Like, and publicly promoted it on Twitter using, like, the Twitter site function, not just his own account. If you want to, like, take steps to denazify the internet and make it less of a toxic shithole, you obviously have to go over, like, Twitter specifically, you know? It's really bad. I saw polling literally just today. It's the most right-wing social media site because so many normal people have left it. It's more right-wing than Facebook.
That this measure is necessary because I believe that children under the age of 16 are not yet capable of managing something as big as social media.
Social media is a huge gateway. It has many
more right-wing than 4chan. We're talking about real websites, not 4chan. No one uses 4chan.
Good things, but many that are not so good. They are bad. And since we don't know how to handle the negative side, I understand that it is better for social media to remain closed to certain age groups. There are many adults who do not know how to use it either, but I fear that gateway cannot be closed.
Australia in December became the first country to ban social media for under 16s. Other countries, such as France and Britain, are closely watching the move as they consider similar measures. Spain's left-wing coalition government has repeatedly complained about the spread of hate speech, pornographic content and disinformation on social media. Sanchez said on Tuesday a bill would be introduced.
But ban it for kids only, right? No, I think Twitter should be banned because Elon's been acting in flagrant violation of multiple EU regulations for years, and they keep threatening to do something and not doing anything. Like, he breaks the law constantly in ways that other social media sites don't. The fact that the EU doesn't ban the site is like, it's yet another, yeah, it's spinelessness, you know? You're essentially saying, like, well, it doesn't matter if you break these rules, like they were only here as a virtue signal.
Next week to hold company executives to account.
CEOs of these techno platforms will face criminal liability for failing to remove illegal or hateful content.
It would also criminalize algorithmic manipulation and the amplification of illegal content.
Cool.
Sanchez said Spain had joined what he called the coalition of the digitally willing with several other European
All right, don't be too self-important here.
countries to coordinate and enforce cross-border regulation. He acknowledged the tough fight that lay ahead, but stressed the need for countries to defend their digital sovereignty.
82% of Spaniards support banning social media for kids under 14. Damn. Elon Musk calls Spain's prime minister a tyrant. Good. He also said Sanchez is the true fascist totalitarian. Very good. If you look at what kids could be doing if they weren't on social media, it is fucked up, man. Like, there's probably so many kids these days who have no hobbies and no future prospects and no interest in anything because all they do is, like, doom scroll. They go to school, they don't learn anything. They like doodle in class or, like, play with their phone under the desk the whole day, and then they go home and they just, like, browse social media. They have, like, no, they're like non-persons, basically. They have no engagement with the world. It's super fucked up. Demon tech. Doodling will at least be creative. Yeah, that's why I walked it back. Like, I don't even think they're doodling, you know? Social media has been one of the only avenues of queer acceptance. It's Spain. They'll be fine. We're not talking about like internet bans in Kabul or Tehran or whatever. It's Spain. They'll probably be fine. They're pretty progressive over there, more than we are. Also, I'm not like to be clear, like even if it wasn't the case, I unironically think that it's worth it. Like even if cutting the internet off to like all young people, basically, social media off to all young people makes it a little bit harder if you're queer when you're young to like learn about yourself or find allyship or whatever. I think that's worth getting rid of the massive brain damage that all young people are being subjected to. You know, it's kind of like it's an either or thing to an extent, right? Assuming you could do it properly. Have you been watching Taylor Lorenz's videos on social media and kids? I don't think her opinions on this are credible. I like Taylor Lorenz for a variety of reasons. I think that when she talks about this subject, she is very irrational. Like consistently, her arguments come across to me like very bad. This won't ban socials for all kids at all, though. People will bypass it. Yeah, I mean, obvious. I'm only talking like in the theoretical. In a practical sense, the actual like legal and logistical difficulties of gatekeeping access to social media so that young people can't access it. Like, obviously, that's very difficult to implement. I'm just talking, conceptually, I suppose. Don't you think social media bans are a backdoor surveillance opportunity for governments? No. They already know what your asshole looks like. It's not. We're so far past that point. Like maybe this is my desensitization of the issue, but in America, ICE agents are literally shoving their personal phone in your face and saying, we're adding you to a database. And it turns out they are. Like, they actually is a secret HSI database of agitators that your face and biometrics are being uploaded to. So, like, I guess in my opinion, the cat's a bit out of the bag. Have you moved over on banning social media for young people? What do you mean? I've always been pretty, like, the internet is evil. What do you mean? I'm a big believer that the internet is evil. Literally, like, single-handedly responsible for the rise of modern neo-Nazism. It's crazy. Obviously, it would still need to be implemented properly. Well, here's the other side, I guess.
Sinceramente, creo que estoy un poco en contra.
I honestly think I'm a little against it because even though there are many bad things about social media, there are also good things. And I think it's more of a decision for parents than for the government. For example, there are recipes, research centres and many resources on social media that are good despite the bad things.
Go to a library. That's it? That's the argument? That got its own video?
So I've got 3 kids. One is under 16, and he's an overuser, shall we say, of social media. And so I think it's quite a good thing that he cuts down or cuts out that.
Yeah. I will say though, the idea that like this is the responsibility of the parents, that's just it's not a good. Like, why take lead out of drinking water? Oh, your parents will make sure you're drinking bottled water. If there's something the government can do that significantly reduces the amount of brain damage in the world, it should probably do that, It's pretty much impossible for parents to, like, moderate their kids' internet use anyway. Like, it's like, so infinitely accessible. It's everywhere. There's no way to... How could you possibly... Like, you can give them, like, a dumb phone or something, but apart from that, I don't know. Parental controls, that shit, it doesn't like really work. It would like you can't expect every parent to be able to like helicopter around their kid and like permanently deny them access to an almost ubiquitous piece of technology. It's really, really tough to do that. Yeah, they give kids computers in school these days. How do you...
Spain says it plans to ban access to social media for minors under 16 and require platforms to employ strict age verification tools. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez made the announcement today at the World Government Summit in Dubai. He said his government would also introduce a new bill to hold social media executives accountable for illegal and hate speech content, as well as to criminalize algorithmic manipulation and the amplification of illegal content.
Would you be okay with a social media tied to students' accounts, so no anonymity and no chance for parents to get access. So people in chat sometimes get mad at me, and I don't know if that's because they're stupid or if it's because I don't know enough about the subject to like clearly define my terms. But I think that over time I've gotten to be more and more favor of some kind of government issued ID that's necessary to access the internet, or at least like many sites on the internet, where like tied to your citizenship or tied to your like registry or whatever the equivalent would be in your country, there would be an anonymous code that you would need in order to have online profiles, but it can't be tracked to your identity from the government database. So like if you provide that code to a website, the website knows the code is valid because it pings the government, and the government's like, yeah, that tracks. No, that's not being used by another person. But that doesn't mean the site knows the person tied to the number, basically. I'm sure like the actual implementation of something like that would be impossibly difficult. Does this mean undocumented immigrants can't access? No, because you couldn't block the whole internet. I guess it would be more like if you're within the bounds of a country, like access to those domains would be gatekept behind that. I'm sure there's a way of doing what I'm talking about, basically. But I think that like, I guess my position is that the internet is actually going to end the world if we don't do something about the bots and algorithmic manipulation. Like the fact that anyone can create a billion Twitter accounts to just like manufacture sentiment within a country basically invalidates democracy. Like there's actually, society is collective consensus, you know? If it's impossible to arrive at authentic collective consensus through the internet because it's possible for anyone with even a little bit of money and time, not even like a lot, like even a little bit, to just completely manufacture consensus, you like there's no point in the democratic project, basically. Look, the right, we all now have to take right-wing culture war bullshit seriously, even though we now know for a fact that it's propped up majority by companies and bots. Isn't that insane? Like, it literally, elections have been swayed over this. Like, the future of the free world has already been shifted, like, irrevocably, as a consequence of just, oh yeah, anyone can fake shit online. Like, I feel like that's such a significant problem, you know? Something has to be done about it. I don't know how you could prevent bots from being used online without some kind of, like, digital registry. This is happening in Canada. If you only look at Twitter, you might think that Alberta independence is popular, but in reality, polls show about 70% of people in Alberta support staying in Canada. Yeah. Like it's trivially easy, especially if you're in a smaller country, man. If you're in like, look at Greenland, dude. Like, I know a lot of people are coming to Greenland's defense because, you know, they're anti-American, which they should be. That's good. You know, like they're coming against us on this. But if you imagine, like, what if the American, like, propaganda industrial complex really took to, like, manufacturing that, like, the idea that Greenland wants to be part of America? There are barely any people in Greenland. It would be really, really difficult to push back against that. You're almost describing, like, a cryptographic public key citizenship? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not really a tech guy. I wouldn't pretend that I understand the, you know, the specifics of how that would be implemented. Why not hold negligent parents responsible instead of destroying the internet and privacy? Because what you're describing doesn't actually work and can't actually work. What do you mean? Like, for one, it has nothing to do with the bots that I'm talking about. And for two, like, what do you mean? You're going to have the state, like, arrest parents for giving their 2-year-olds an iPad? Well, actually, hold on. I might be cooking with this. No, it just doesn't fix. It doesn't. Like, the amount of surveillance and policing that it would take to do that would exceed anything that I'm describing on the internet. You know, like, you're advocating for a more totalitarian version of addressing the problem. Can't the kids just fake an ID? Not if you had a cryptographic ID that was tied to your, like, government profile, no. Like, it would just be one, you know? That'd be like stealing somebody else's SSN. You could, but, like, if they already have an account online, you'd just be stealing their account. Or you'd be, like, logging in with different, like, credentials via that code. It would just be fraudulent, you know? Vash, I was saved from being a Nazi in my teen years when I found Hassan, then you, then a few others. I used to throw Hitler salutes and do all kinds of vile shit when I was like 13 to 15, until I was in the room one day when my dad was watching Hassan. I felt so guilty, and then my dad and I talked about what I was doing. That's really sweet. I'm glad you felt comfortable talking with your dad about that. But yeah, like, a testament to what the internet's doing to young people. I guarantee you that you're, you know, you weren't Nazi posting with no prompting from your, you know, from people online. Yeah, good job, Dad. I'd rather get rid of my internet than put something tied to my ID online. Fuck that techno-feudalism bullshit. Super Sam 5802 in chat, I've got really bad news for you, but Google, if subpoenaed, could give your information to the government based off your YouTube account right now. I guarantee you have tags affiliated with your account, like on your IP and stuff, that they could use to like immediately get your ass if they wanted to. Like, there's no, you're already in the system. Yeah, I just want to deal with the preponderance of bots and other anti-democratic, anti-society bullshit. I'm just saying, like, a lot of these problems have already, like, these flags have already been tripped, you know? This is missing the forest for the trees. The internet didn't create right-wing radicalization. Mainstream media does it too. We need to crack down the right wing in general. I agree, but I think that, like, the problem extends beyond that. Like, the problem with infiniscroll, brain rot, bot manipulation, stuff like that, that's, like, inherent to the internet in a way that you couldn't address just by engaging in partisan censorship. Not to say I'm not in favor of partisan censorship. I love partisan censorship, you know. I don't even think Republicans should vote. But personalized algorithms should for sure be illegal. 100%, yeah.
In Spain, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has announced a plan to ban social media for youth under the age of 16.
Why the fuck do they have kick up here, man?
He says it's necessary to protect children from what he called a digital Wild West. The proposal has sparked criticism abroad and mixed responses at home.
14-year-old Daniel is not thrilled at the prospect of being banned from scrolling.
Hey, I saw this.
I use social media for many things.
But that big change may be underway in Spain, where access to social media could be banned for under 16s. Speaking at a summit in Dubai, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said Spain had joined 5 other European countries to enforce cross-border regulation.
Today, our children are exposed to a space they were never meant to navigate.
Social media executives would be held responsible for hate speech on their platforms.
Cool.
Prosecutors would also...
Alana Mosseri, an international relations professor at IE University in Madrid. Professor, Spanish Prime Minister Sanchez calls the platform would amplify disinformation. Elon Musk says, quote, Sanchez is the true fascist totalitarian. Whose side are people in Spain on?
Well, in Spain, they see Musk as an outsider. He's not someone who has been terribly empathetic over the last year or so in Spain. And so this is the second time he's insulted Sanchez.
Why do I, as an adult, need to give up my privacy for this? You already don't have any internet. I don't know how much of this is you and how much of this is me, but I need you to understand what I have described would not entail any more a loss in privacy than you have already experienced just by virtue of being on social media at all. If the government and private corporations already know everything about you, like the mass harvesting of ad data that they use for like targeted advertisements or whatever else, this has been going on for well over a decade, and they have extremely robust profiles on basically anyone with any internet presence whatsoever, and you have not gotten around them. I guarantee it. You just haven't. For all you could have clicked on the wrong website like 14 years ago and basically given them a package of data that since then has been running around the internet nonstop. Even if you use a VPN, people have like been wildly oversold how effective VPNs are at hiding your. You have no idea. Like, that would be like saying, sometimes I go outside wearing a mask, so how could the government know what my face looks like? You have no fucking idea how extensive. You realize that in America, they occasionally fly spy drones over cities and they take mass photos of everyone in the city. Your face, license plates. Like, what, were you wearing a mask that day? Do you wear a mask every time you look out the window into your garden? Do you wear a mask whenever you look in the mirror and the mirror has a reflection that people could see from the outside because you left the curtains drawn? I guarantee you, your info is out there, all right? What I'm describing would not in any way add to the amount of information that the government had on you. But yeah, whatever. It's not like VPNs are useless. I don't know what this fearmonger accomplishes. I didn't say VPNs are useless. Why would you have to respond to what I say, not what you think I said. I don't know what this fearmongering accomplishes. It's not fearmongering. What I just said is completely, it's literally not fearmongering. I'm just not lying to you. What did I say that was inaccurate to you? I'm sorry. Like, I know it's weird, but it's completely true. It just, whatever.
Past week, I think, first over migration and now over this. But certainly, you know, that's his interest, and that's been the interest of Silicon Valley, is keeping the internet as wide open as possible. But what they're getting at, and this is also reinforced by EU policy, is getting at these algorithms and also protecting children, which is something that pretty much everyone can agree on. As someone who's in the classroom every day with university students, I see how utterly addicted these kids are to technology. We all are. But setting limits, because most parents are unable to, because it's all their friends.
Fair, but it's not like we can't advocate for reduction of surveillance. Sure, but I don't know what that has to do with what I said. I just feel like people are not engaging with what I said. I don't know. I think a lot of you have internalized the bourgeois ideology of infinite internet libertarianism a little bit. Like all of the big deep state palantir types are like, yes, free internet use for everyone. Have every 12-year-old be addicted to the Infiniscroll on like Nazi sites or whatever. And you guys are getting reflexively defensive over the idea of any government intervention at all in the subject, which I don't know. Like all the wealthy people in the world agree with you on that. Yeah, no government intervention, I guess. They're all like Elon Musk is out there calling the Spanish prime minister a fascist dictator because he wants to, you know, keep under 16s from accessing social media. I'm just saying, like, I think that the fact that a lot of people get really reflexively cautious about government surveillance when I guarantee you the information that the government would have access to is already available to them, it just makes me think this is like an ideology thing, not like a practical concern. We don't need to argue. It's fine. Let me just finish the video.
On these devices and on the social media, as we hear from this kid in the interview, and so parents need help as well getting this done.
Now, free speech advocates say that regulating social media platforms more
Gosh, you should know better than anyone that government intervention wouldn't be done for the people's good. Are you like unironically a libertarian? Oh, you want the government regulating what kind of leaded, like whether or not gasoline is leaded or unleaded? What are you fucking talking about? What do you mean? All government intervention is bad? Are you insane? Oh, why have them build the roads? Who's going to build the road? Are you a fucking I have like what you are regurgitating the propaganda of tech billionaires. The idea that the government could never ever implement any like bans or restrictions that would be this weird, like people who they're on the left, but they're weirdly like classical liberal about this. They're weird, like Sargon of Akkad or whatever, where they're like, you know, I hate the fucking techno oligarchy, but I would never ever advocate for any regulations they don't want, you know? And it's like, I don't know, man. I really the government already has your fucking data. They already have it. They already have it. The government really isn't getting much useful by like you can only access the internet via a provided pin, like a cryptographic pin or whatever. That just, it doesn't add much to the pile, but it could eventually solve a lot of problems. I don't know. But isn't that a bad thing? Wouldn't we want them to have less of our data in the long term? I don't know. It's really fucking complicated. The internet is a utility. You know, it's a really complicated series of tubes. It's like, to an extent, the government needs to facilitate the interactions between you and the websites you access, because if they didn't, you couldn't. I don't really know what else you could do.
Comes close to censoring. Do they have a point?
Well, I mean, what it is about and what EU law is about, and I think there's some discrepancy between what Spain can regulate and what the European Union can regulate in the DSA, the Digital Services Act, is certainly hate speech, but also the algorithms. And that's where the real issue is that people have lost their control over their feeds and what you see and what you don't see. You know, it used to be when the social media first started off.
Massive difference between needing a subpoena for a specific person and the government just having a list of everyone somewhere. The government already has a list of everyone in the, what do you mean? Do you think the government doesn't know who the citizens are in the government? What do you think the IRS? What are we talking about, man? Just to be clear, the thing that I have talked about is this, okay? Just the simplest version of this, just so people can't misinterpret me, okay? Citizens, in addition to an SSN, get a key that is tied to their registry as a citizen that anytime they make a profile with a site or like log on to an ISP or what, like, yeah, when they use the internet in any capacity, right? They sign in through a password and a username and through that key. And then the company that runs the website pings that key information off of the government database. It doesn't know whether or not that key, like who that key corresponds to. It just pings and checks if it's valid. That's it. Is this already in use? Is this the first time it's being used? And does this correspond to an actual person who really exists? Is this person real? Ping, confirm, that's it. The government doesn't get any more information besides the fact that you're not a bot, and the government doesn't know anything besides the domain or possibly the company that's pinging them. That's it. Like, that's just the simplest version. Now, you could build that out in a way that, like, I think essentially eliminates the existence of bots with no additional information being like given to the government or given to the corporations that you're running through. And this would, like, on its own, like, single-handedly get rid of bots in social media, which I think is necessary for the preservation of democracy. I know, you keep telling me, Masaigo. I looked more into it, and it already exists in Estonia. Everyone's ID is also a smart card that provides a cryptographic key. They use it for online voting and elections. It's pretty good. That sounds pretty cool. Like, it just seems like a way of enshrining in an online profile the kind of security and authenticity that you would normally only get by, like, showing up and providing documents in person, but much more anonymously. That'd be nice, but I'm not sure how viable it is without linking everything you do on the internet to your real identity. The websites do not know who the real person is. They're only pinging the government to make sure that it's a real ID. And the government doesn't know anything about your use on the site. It's just that they're being pinged to ensure, to see if, like, it's a real person. The government might not even know which person corresponds to which key. It's like that could also be encrypted. Like, the government, it might be illegal for the government to parse that information. The government could have, like, a database of it, but it would be no access. It would just be there like a black box to only accessed via, like, a warrant. So you're introducing a single point of failure for every site on the internet? No, dude. Can you stop? Seriously, can you stop? I'm sorry I'm not a fucking net nerd, okay? I'm sorry that I've gone to parties and had sex. I don't know what the fuck you want from me, okay? I've described the concept pretty well, I think. I think that if you're acting in good faith, you understand what I'm talking about. I don't know why, like, single point of failure. What the fuck do you mean? What point of failure exactly? Can you say, oh yeah, if they crack the deep fucking government drive and get the encrypted data of every citizen registered to every key, how exactly would they do that? Well, that's like asking, oh, well, what if they crack into the IRS's databases and gets everyone's info? That would really suck. But we already have that. You could encrypt the fuck out of this. The idea, one point of failure. What do you mean? The fucking Ocean's 11 breaks into the White House and steals the. I'm just trying to wonder, like, what, like anyone is so desperate to find out the name of the person who operates the Roblox account that keeps flaming them that they fucking descend from a rappel on a grappling hook into the deep vault where a single dust of a grain of dust, like, lands on the ground and activates the auto turrets that fire and fucking shred the tile, and you have to turn the power off so that you can descend through the lasers, and then if a single bead of sweat hits the ground, then the flames activate, and they're gonna do all of this just to find out the name of the person who's calling them a retard in Roblox. Like, sure, there's a single point of failure, okay? We can put it inside a nuclear vault if you want to. It only has to ping the like an authenticity code. It doesn't. It's every time there's something about this subject in AI. There's something about it that just sets my brain on fire. I don't know. And that code can be stolen. Anything can be stolen, man. The SSN lists can be stolen. IRS data can be stolen. What do you mean? That's not an argument against it. Anything can be stolen. But this is more secure than, like, anything else. The government would have a single secure database. And yes, if the government wanted to, they could just generate a new key for everyone. That is true, yeah. I feel like a lot of people are really reflexively against this stuff, but I don't know how the fuck else. Like, how else do we deal with bots, man? The internet can't, naive magical thinking. Fuck off. You're literally like engaging with this at a 70 IQ level. You're not like, your rebuttals don't even make sense. Single point of failure. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You just think you're just regurgitating the propaganda of tech billionaires. Oh, any government intervention is dangerous. You don't know. It's free speech, tyranny, you know? But you don't know enough about the subject to provide specific criticism. So you're getting mad at me over it, okay? Like people in chat acting like this is going to introduce new points of surveillance or points of failure. You trust the government to not put lead in your pipes? What the fuck are you talking about? Vosh, you're completely avoiding the issue. I could go over your YouTube right now and get a long rant from you against Palantir. You don't seem to understand it's literally the same thing. Okay, I don't know how to say this. You literally don't understand what you're talking about. Palantir is a company that correlates massive amounts of scraped data into an AI-like software architecture that it uses to track people's profiles. This is a highly encrypted, single, one-to-one database that correlates people's government IDs to an anonymous, long cryptographic code that can be used to determine authenticity. Versions of this already exist right now. We just don't use it for general internet access. What the version of this that you can access at this moment in day-to-day life is called an authentication key, and it is the single most secure way of keeping your passwords clear on any website. This is not Palantir. You don't know what Palantir is. You don't know what a crypto fucking graphic key or whatever authentication key is. You don't know any of this. You're just getting mad at me. Why are you saying this shit, man? You don't understand. This is literally Palantir. You're betraying your fans who thought you were consistent on this issue. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh my god, professionals are telling you it's not secure. Just listen to them. Okay, Jin Myo-sun. Which professionals? I'm sorry, who here in chat has a like a networking, like a degree in computer science, you know, some kind of specialization, computer tech security, people who work for the information intelligence agencies? But tell me, who exactly? You seem to be deferring to a lot of assumed authority here. No, Vosh, it's not that simple. It's not a single ping. What magical thinking we work in tech, Lamau. You know, for somebody who works in tech, you seem to have a shocking inability to describe what the issue is. Professionals are telling you not to care. Are you the professional? Would you like to explain it to me? Be honest, do you know what you're talking about? Yes. Yes, I do. I'm just waiting, you know? I'm just waiting. I don't think I'm going to get my answer. Jin Myo-sun. Yeah, I don't see it. Professional comes in. I literally just signed a check because of this bullshit here. Vosh completely correct in this. I've got several security certifications. Got it. I believe all certifications that belong to people who agree with me, and if a person disagrees with me, they're lying about it. Many such cases. Yeah. I think it might be time to start banning people. No, it's not about banning people. I just think that I think that on a lot of issues surrounding surveillance, free speech, or government involvement, people default to a kind of moral dumbfounding, where people have strong preconceptions based on like a set of stereotypes they associate with the subject, but they don't really engage with the specifics of it, you know? It's reasonably common around topics that people find icky, you know? Like there are people, for instance, who get really like they morally grandstandy over like, well, what if two consenting adults want to hit each other with rocks? Like then people are like, well, actually, this is only like, oh, people would only want this if they're traumatized, so their desires aren't actually valid or whatever, you know. Or people get into this like their underlying axioms start like self-compromising because they're trying to justify some feeling that they have. Vosh, you're the one who doesn't understand what they're talking about. It's Palantir. I'm sick of you telling me what I don't know what we're talking about. Wait, Manakini, how long have you been begrudging my my tone? If you're having like a fucking, you know, Kubrick stare moment with me. I'm sick and tired of you. Wait, you're doing a bit. Sick of you telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. The government wants you to verify your identity as part of building tax your online identity. This can be sold to Palantir or identical organizations. Oh my god, you don't have any idea. You have no idea. You have no idea what you're talking about. Holy shit. Oh my god. Do you think we shouldn't have the IRS because the IRS could sell all of that information? Or do you think you could just have a government agency that has laws preventing the disclosure of its information? Like this already exists. Like no SSNs, because that could be so. Like what if they decide to just give all that info away? You know, I mean, I guess But that's a defeater to literally anything. Any privacy system could be defeated by like, hey, what if the people who hold the keys just give them away for free for some reason? The Palantir part of Palantir is the Palantir part, not the fact that a government has information on its citizens. It's so goddamn weird you don't see this connection here. I'm done with you on this. You don't get it, and you don't plan on learning. Well, people actually did make this argument about Social Security. Well, Social Security is literally just a number. You know, it's pretty stupid. There's not really much security to it. You know, with a modern digital key, you could have you could have like a much more secure one-to-one connection. Oh my God. That's not what Social Security means? What? What? What do you mean that's not the number? Do you think I don't know what an SSN is? What are you talking about? Literally work for the Feds and crypto enforcement years. What Vosh describing here is correct. It's literally how crypto transactions are verified, how over currency. It's just like an anonymous key, man. How do Americans connect to official government services? Do you already have a government authentication app or something? Dude, like every day you interact with any corporation or any like government entity, you give them so much fucking info. I'm talking about a one-to-one here. Your internet key and your identity, something that you already hand over 1,000 times a day every time you access any domain or do anything, but people are acting like this is a step too far, you know? I do wish we had some kind of smart ID. Wouldn't foreign bots still be an issue? No, because they couldn't access the websites. Like, what if any domain past a certain size had to have that requirement? I think that'd be pretty smart, you know? Like big social media sites would, but if you had like a little tiny blog about, I don't know, car maintenance or whatever, you wouldn't need everyone who signed up there. Like if your site gets flooded with bots, it doesn't really matter, right? It's not really like a big deal. The websites already do this with 2FA or passkey. Bots can get around a lot of that stuff now. Well, wait. A lot of most websites don't require you to engage in like that careful of a sign-up process, but also people abandon accounts on websites that they did sign up with initially as human beings, and then those like passwords and usernames get leaked en masse, and then they get picked up by bot networks. So the bot networks like commandeer like armies of millions and millions of old dead accounts and use them to do whatever they want, you know? But that wouldn't be an issue if you only had like one government token that gets pinged, because then it'd be a lot easier to keep like the correlation clean, I guess, you know? So websites should act like Republicans and purge voter rolls? Yes! Oh, yeah. Or at the very least, like, wouldn't it be cool if you created an account on like a website 14 years ago or something, and you've not used it since, and then it starts getting used again, you get like a ping via your like your email or whatever, being like, hey, you know, this account has been reactivated and is being used. Is this you? And then you could like I think that in most cases people would be like, you know, no, obviously it's not. Or like there'd be like regular updates to the cryptographic key that associates your online account with your real life identity, so that over time you couldn't even repuppet those old. You'd have to manually go reactivate them, because if they tried to do it with the old key, it would be defunct. They might not even be able to take access of those old accounts, because even if they had the password and the username, how the fuck would those bot networks guess the cryptographic code that would ping off the government, right? Like, you log in with your password and username, but that ping was a one-time thing to verify authenticity, so that's not saved. How would those bots then pull from that, you know? And then, like, say your code leaks, you could have it changed. But even if you didn't have it changed, how would those bot networks know to correlate that username and that password with that cryptographic key? Like, even if you didn't change it for some reason, how would they know that it's you? They would have the password and the username. How would they know it? Like, which like internet persona it corresponds to, right? Basically, I just think an extra level of security here could go a long way to making the internet usable in the long run. Like, dead internet theory is a real problem. Maybe it's not for you guys. Maybe for you guys, like, you've grown up on this, but I remember back when the internet, everything had to be written by a human, so everything felt personal. But now, like, you go online and it's like insane political takes have 80,000 likes, and it's all bots, and it's literally some guy dropped $20 on it, you know? Entire political movements live or die based off of like whether or not you've got the botnets to it. Twitch streamers like fall in and out of relevance because they're all fucking botting people, view botting, you know? It's insane. It's like genuinely insane. Nothing feels real anymore. It used to be that, I know I'm rambling, it used to be that when you went online and you saw somebody with a crazy fucking take, you know a human being typed that out, and that made it special. Like, that was an actual crazy person. But now the majority of internet traffic is bots. So, like, there's nothing human. It's inhuman, it's unrepresentative, it makes it really easy to manipulate democratic outcomes because people, like, get lured into a false sense of consensus. And it's like, damn, this could literally all be fixed if we just had some extra level of security, just something, just anything that could add that additional bar, you know? And yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously the actual implementation of this would be done by some fucking eggheads, but it's just like a conceptual thing. What if in the future we need to subvert the fake elections of a fascist dictator? What do you mean, like when we need to deploy the bot networks for good, or? It doesn't help the largest websites like the security being weak because they all get to count the bot signups as authentic traffic to investors. Yeah, also, like, not to get like too grim with this or whatever, I actually don't think the internet can survive without some kind of measure like this, because the predominance of bot traffic has destroyed the viability of ad payouts, because now people paying for advertisements have no idea how many people are actually watching their ads, because bot traffic counts too, which means that they're paying out less, which means a lot of websites that can only exist with the revenue off of advertising dollars is going down. The overall share of money available online in terms of like website maintenance has been going down over time, not up. The ratio of like how many people go to a site versus how many people are like paying into the existence of that site through ad reads, it's getting worse with time. Like, did you know Newgrounds used to be one of the hubs of the internet, and right now it operates at a loss? The only reason it's still up is because the people who run it like keep it open as like a museum project. It's still widely trafficked and beloved, but it's just like the ad dollars no longer produce revenue, and as a consequence, like a lot of things are starting to falter and die. The only reason mega sites like Twitter and Tumblr and so on are still up is because like economy of scale, they can get access to the cheapest per unit server farms, but also because they have a bunch of contracts where they scrape your data and sell them to advertisers. But that money is starting to go down too, because advertisers are only willing to pay for the scraped data off of the assumption that when people see those targeted advertisements, they're actually going to buy them. But if everyone looking at them is bots, how do they know who's buying? Like, I think the rehumanification of the internet is like an actual necessary step to keeping this miracle of creation alive. I legit, like, I think that I will live to see the death of the internet unless we do something drastic to make sure that it is for humans only, or I guess like aliens. I don't really care. You know what I mean? The persons. It has to be conscious people. Okay, but advertisers losing money is really funny. Yeah, until the websites you like go down. Do you know how sad I'm going to be when Newgrounds goes down? I'm going to live to see that, you know. The trend that is depriving it of money is only getting worse over time. YouTube is barely profitable. So just make all social media paid? I don't have an issue with that necessarily. Like, the idea of having a cable-like internet package where you need to pay some small amount of money, not just to your internet service provider, who are demons, but to the actual websites you care about. Like, I don't give a fuck about you giving money to Comcast. Fuck Comcast, you know? As far as I'm concerned, that internet infrastructure is a utility that should be nationalized, same as other utilities. But, like, imagine if your $70 a month on the internet went to, like, you know, YouTube. I don't know, like, you use YouTube server space all the time. You're using it right now by watching me. This is hosted on YouTube. Like, that, a live stream, the live updating, like, watching this, it takes a lot of server space. Just a little bit of money kicked that way, it could keep the internet afloat. So a TV license? To an extent, yeah. TV was a lot better back when everyone just paid for cable, you know? Do you favor more of a local internet? Yeah, I do. Isn't this what we wanted net neutrality to prevent? Yes, to an extent. I think it would be, it's more like, there are a couple of ways that we can change the payment model to keep internet, to keep the internet functioning the way that we want it to. And I don't know. It's just a real problem. A lot of people don't like thinking about it. It's also big. It feels like such an unchanging feature of the world. People have difficulty, I think, conceptualizing how fragile this all is. Dude, look at Wikipedia. Like, Wikipedia talks about it all the time. It's like, what happens when they go down or when they get bought out? It's not. Yeah. That's true, Masaigo, yeah. All right.